Welcome back to the Chow Time Pod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from O'Shea Duke Jackson. You know, women are starting to eat that chow, and they ain't liking it. The chow's too much for them, and they're realizing they might have fucked up. So please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that. Let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
2 days ago, the Philip Scott Show released a very good video called Modern Woman Says Men Have Created a Dating Crisis by Refusing to Date American Women. And the video he's reviewing comes from this lady, Jen Larson's Official. Let's go ahead and play Phil's video and then we'll come back.
So there's a lot of men that has been checking out of the dating process. They have said, you know, I have enough of these modern women in America. We sick of it. There's no reason to invest in these women whatsoever. I want you to check out.
That's how a lot of you guys feel. Like even my comment section, you know how me, I still want marriage. I still do want to date here and there in the West. Most of you guys are like, fuck that. I'm out.
This video we're going to review because, boy, even with statistics, it's getting worse for these modern women.
I have been so hesitant to post about this for two reasons. Number one, I don't like negativity and I don't want to be like the bearer of bad news.
How is the truth such is negativity now? Telling something that is real or the truth is negativity. How can anyone handle the truth nowadays if that's what you're putting the truth is as negativity out there? Everybody's so pussy whipped in a sense and like, oh my God, you're gonna hurt my feelings. Fuck that. Like, the truth is the truth. Deal with it or fucking get the fuck out. That's it.
Number two, I didn't want to believe it. But after doing so much research and getting a lot of messages, I'm going to just deliver the unvarnished truth to you guys. I'm just going to lay it out straight. We're in a dating crisis. Not basically, we are. That's what's happening. So let me look at my research here because I don't want to mess it up. So men looking for casual dates and our relationships is down 50%. 50.
See, how is this negativity? It's just stating facts. There's no negativity involved. So not like, where do people pull this negativity out from? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so she's saying that a lot of you men, you said you have checked out the process. You checked out. Now, what she's not talking about is a lot of you men that flew out of here too.
Passport bros.
So you're not even on the dating scene because you're overseas trying to find you a wife over there.
Yep.
So now it's down 50%. Some men to say,
Plus
I'm not even trying to fool these.
I mean, I don't think passport bros that big of percentage overall. Like maybe 2-3% overall of the population. I mean, I'll give it 5 maybe at most. So we'll just add it to the total of like 55% then.
These women. You know why they don't have to date you? Because a lot of them is just too easy to get. They'll lay down with you the first.
This is what the women that always shit on passport bros are missing out. That sleeping with women is quite easy in the West. Especially for men that have capabilities and means. It's finding a wife that's an issue. We've never, like most passport bros, I don't think had issues getting sex. I don't believe they did. Most of them are decent looking men. They all make decent money. There's no problem for that.
First date, and listen, as a man get his rocks off or whatever, then that's all he needs. Let me tell you something. The dating process would go down to 100% checked out if tricking was legal in the U.S. If they made tricking legal, because notice they're making everything else legal, but they ain't making that legal.
Yeah.
If they made that legal, none of them men would date y'all.
I don't see them making that legal because they got that AI dolls now and the AI stuff. I think they'd rather have men sedated with those things than actual real sex.
What for? Because they can just go buy what they want to buy, get their little rocks off, and that's the end of it.
Yep.
They wouldn't, man.
I mean, if women actually knew how much time, effort, money is required to take women out on dates and have sex with them, women would not date men. If they had to do what we had to do, they just wouldn't.
Boy, I'm telling you, you better hope they don't ever make that legal in the United States.
since 2019, not since 1970, since 2019, right
And that's a short time ago, 2019, just a few years ago.
before the pandemic.
Dude, before the pandemic, now after the pandemic, I'm sure that number is slightly higher.
Down 50%. They're not looking, which means if you're a woman looking, they don't give a. So as this trend continues, by 2040, 45% of women, 45% of women between the ages of 20 and 45 will be single and childless.
Listen there, because men checking out the process, she's saying by 2040, 45% of women will be single and childless. Now let's go to the situation about the sperm banks. And especially when it comes to black men. Black men's sperm is in high demand.
It is.
And black men has checked out of that.
So Philip Scott,
In my opinion, I don't even understand why black men or men in general are using sperm banks. Why? I don't understand it. Like, you're giving someone else access to your probably most prized possession, in a sense, is your seed. You're giving another family, like a woman or whatever the fuck, whoever the fuck it is, access to your prized possession. Yes, you get paid for it, but is it really worth it? Like, imagine if your child was one of those kids that grew up to be something, and, you know, like, I think it's a very sad way to earn money, in my opinion.
makes a lot of great points in that particular timepiece. What does he say? He says, listen, a lot of guys don't find any real value in dating these American women.
No.
Because
Again, most of you guys in my comment section and in my sub section really don't want to date. I have a few men that are married, and, you know, they are suggesting almost everybody's to get out of the States. Get out of the States. You know? I don't hate on it. I tell everybody, hey, if you don't really want to deal with it, fuck, get out of the States. It's okay to do that. It is what it is. You don't have to deal with these women here. You know? If you want to, you can, and there's ways to go about it, but it's easier. It could be easier in other places.
because they feel like a lot of the times the women are too easy, maybe too easy to just go to bed with, but overall too easy to too hard.
Correct. I'm going to go with my story again. Before I got married, dated all the time. I wouldn't say all the time. Dated here and there. I was never able to get sex on the first night, well, actually, I'm wrong. There was one chick I did sleep with on the first night. But that was only one out of 10 women that I've dated, 10, 15 women that I dated before I met my ex-wife. And then after I got divorced, I got on Hinge and Tinder and stuff. Most of those dates were women that slept with me on the first night, or at least offered to sleep with me on the first night. I didn't do it with some of them, but that's such a difference, a stark difference from when I got with my ex-wife. So that's almost 15 years, 20 years difference of how society changed from pretty modest women to not really being 304s the way they are now, until now where they're proud to be 304s. They say they're proud to be 304s. They're proud of their body counts and things like that. That's such a stark change in 20 years of society in the U.S.
to deal with long term. And that is exactly why you see these men getting their passports, right?
Passport
And
bros.
I wanted to know, why is it that these women have been refusing to date American men? And I found a very good explanation of this from this particular channel here.
Why is it that 66% of young men between the ages of 18 and 29 are currently single, but only 34% of young women in the same age bracket are single? Pew Research Center put out this very interesting piece of research recently that talked about the historic rise in unpartnered Americans.
Yep.
And what they found was interesting, and it sort of left them with a lot of question marks, but some proposed answers as to why this is happening. But one of the things that was very fascinating is that young men are twice as likely to be single than young women, right? 66% of young men are single and not dating and unpartnered, but only 34% of young women are single and not partnered. So what's happening? Where's the discrepancy going? The reality in what they've started to find is that young women are just dating older.
Yes.
Right. They're just dating men that are in their early 30s, that maybe are more financially stable or more mature. Maybe they're more stable in their career. Right. They've finished their degrees. They've started paying off their student loans. They've got, a mortgage or, a car or whatever the case is. And to a lot of women, that is very appealing and attractive. Right.
Correct.
A lot of the studies have shown that on average, women still want men who are making as much of them, if
or
not more. And the emphasis there is on the if not more.
Correct.
The average woman in the dating market today, between ages 18 and 29 or above, are still wanting men who are able to acquire more resources than them, who are able to out-earn them. So the challenge that I think has happened is that, we can talk about social media and dating apps and all those things, but one of the biggest discrepancies that I think has started to emerge is that as women have become more and more financially independent,
Correct.
their mate or selection preferences haven't adapted or changed along with that financial independence.
Correct.
So the reality is that, women, even though they don't need a man, they don't need a man to pay for anything, there's still, in many cases, this underlying expectation or this underlying desire to have a man who out-earns them.
Correct.
So as women are starting to make more and more money, right, 50, 60K, 100K, 200,000, $1 million, whatever it is, their expectation and what they want in a partner is that person still out-earns them, that person is still somebody who is able to provide more than them in some capacity. And this, I think, is really impacting young men, because if you're a woman who comes out of college, you have a college degree, maybe you get a job right out of college, you're making 50, 60 grand or whatever it is, however much you're making out of college.
That comes from the Man Talks YouTube channel, and the video in question is, why are 66% of young men single? And I think this is a very good video. The reason why this is a very good video, because toward the end, he explains something that is awesome. You see, in the 60s and 70s, you saw more men being educated
Correct.
than women. Okay? So that made
sense.
a lot more men more attractive. Now you have only 42% of men graduating college in comparison to, as he would say, 58% of women. So although you have more of your men into the blue collar fields and stuff like that, women, despite their particular successes in academia and the financial departments, they still want a man making more than them. Here's the issue. For the men that are making more than them, those men do not want those ladies typically.
Nope.
Because
This is what we talk about, strong, independent women that make a lot of money. They acquire those traits that men don't want. Like, they're not submissive. They're very combative. They're very pushy. They're very stern with a lot of the stuff, and they don't want to compromise as much, which it's fair. When I'm a high-powered person with dealing with other people, I don't really budge much on what I want. So it makes sense.
Because there is a big difference in between what a woman earns and her ability
To attract a man.
to be your wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's the situation, right? Even if you're a guy who's doing very well, like look at a lot of the guys right now who have money galore. I'll talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. I forgot his last name, but Giannis from the Bucks. This guy has 3 kids now. He's a super elite millionaire. He won't marry the girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Nick Cannon, who won't commit. Omarion doesn't want to commit. And it goes back to what Phil is saying, is it's not even worth it even if I do have the money to provide and take. Like, what am I getting?
Correct.
So a lot of guys are saying in the 60s and 70s, when men wanted to go to college and get an education and take care of women, what we were saying as men at that time, women are worth it.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, when I wanted to go to college and become a doctor or become a businessman, one of the perks of that was knowing I was going to get a nice wife, a good looking wife, and be respected in my community.
This is what a lot of men expected. A lot of men expected this. Work hard, get a good job, you're going to find a wife, and then you're going to build together. This is why a lot of men have checked out also, because they did that. Yes, they might not have strived for the best and to be millionaires, but they did what they were supposed to do. Get a good job, work hard, get a house, or get whatever they needed to get. But it's not good enough for women now. And men are just like, well, if I did all this and I'm still not going to get my end goal of family and a wife, why would I even deal with this anymore? I'm just going to check out. I'm going to give up on pushing further and just play video games and jerk off with porn. It's easier to deal with that than deal with you women.
Now it's to the point where I can be literally in my 40s, not married, no kids, and that's completely fine. That wouldn't have been the case in the 90s.
Correct. Now we talk about, top tier men are in their 30s single, late 30s, early 40s single. This wasn't so much the case back in the day. The people that were single at these ages were the playboys, not just regular men. Now regular men are in this boat too.
If I was 40, if I grew up in the 70s, 80s, no, that wouldn't have been acceptable, especially not in the black community as a successful black man, a successful heterosexual black man, to be unmarried. No, that's not what it is. But now we know that people just don't value each other because they don't need each other anymore.
Yeah.
And the reality is, as much as you're going to be seeing these men who are not going to college but still successful, women are still going to be looking down on them. And then men are going to be saying, what is the incentive for me to really achieve a lot?
Like I said,
when I feel like what I'm going to get after achieving is not going to be much. That's something that we're not talking about. A lot of guys don't want to risk working hard, going the extra mile,
to lose it.
Becoming the ultimate provider, to lose everything, and they feel like it is nothing in it for them. That's the situation. So why we're not going to college to achieve this sort of life, to take care of this life? For what? It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get anything out of that. I might as well just look out for myself. And one thing is for sure. When men just look out for their self and they don't look out for the betterment of women, I don't care how much these ladies make. It's just not a good society.
It is not.
Society.
I talk about this, man. Like, men have given up on women, period. We don't even help women at the gym. We don't even help them in public anymore. Why? Because we're worried about being filmed and seen as a creep or some kind of fucking predator. Women have made it so hard to even help them without it being some kind of blowback on us men. And that's a horrible society, because women are going to get destroyed left and right. And the people that did protect them were us men. Us normal men that saw injustices and stepped in and took care of things. Now men are just watching injustices and just like, I don't want to deal with that.
Societies are probably the most safe. I would guarantee you. When you have men that care about your women and they want to take care of them, is where I want to live.
Correct.
I don't want to live anywhere where I feel like the men don't take care or don't care about the women after living overseas. Never. I could never live there. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy.
That was some good chow. Man, it sucks. This is the society I don't want. I would like for us to, it's the people that are willing to stay, build yourself up, do what you need to do, and find a good wife and build the society up here, raise good kids. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. I'm not forcing anybody. I'm just giving my suggestion. This is what I would like to do. But if I can't do it myself, I will travel. I will travel overseas. You know, my plan is for the next 2-3 years is when I plan on fully traveling and, you know, searching for a wife in other countries. But before then, for these next 3 years, I'll date here and there and try to find a good woman. You know, it is what it is. So I hope other men are willing to do that too. Just I don't really want the U.S. to go to complete trash. I know it's going that way, but if I can help a little bit, I mean, I'll try. So please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys next time. It's chow time.